hGlobal TV subscribe.
Global community, what's the deal? What we on? Today, I got another setup of videos, non-biased, non-mainstream media. We about to get in. Let's go down this rabbit hole together, get some esoteric knowledge, entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it. Globes in the chat, bang that. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You came across it for a reason. Don't play with that algorithm. Bang that like button.
hGlobal TV subscribe.
One last thing. I saw this up the other day. Obama goes on some random podcast that nobody's ever heard of and just happens to drop, "Oh, aliens are real." Yeah, tell me, right in the middle of the biggest pedophile ring exposed in the world. All of a sudden, we're gonna drop that aliens are real.
I guess that's a distraction from a distraction. But as we see, Obama then retracted them statements and walked them all the way back. He must have got a phone call.
That is on the wall or the walls, which is creepy. Can you imagine going into the dentist's office and
What is that?
That's the dentist's office at Epstein Island.
And do you know what Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend went on to do as a profession?
What?
A dentist.
Oh, isn't that
so
weird?
The last woman he dated before he died was a woman who went to dental school, practiced dentistry, and they have a dental. And there were reports that they were pulling the teeth out of the children. They were calling them blowholes. That was according to one report of a survivor. In the files, they pulled the teeth out so that they couldn't bite back during the sexual assaults.
Think about that. Think about that. You have a dentist's office to pull the teeth out of kids so they don't bite you and fight back. And then 2 for 1. When you, God forbid, kill these freaking poor kids, there's no evidence of their teeth. Because when people die, Pat, it's not the skull's nothing. It's your teeth. The dental records is how they identify you. So, and I know, and it's crazy. The more and more you're hearing, the trap doors, all the parties, all the people, and all these names. That's the only messed up thing is they redacted everybody's name. Why can't we see who these people were?
Leonardo DiCaprio's been implicated. New ones today is huge email list of him and Woody Allen talking about, I'm mainly on a human diet. I'm cannibalism. It's really made me lose weight. I grind the bones up for fiber. And then they talk about in other emails, the last tranche, about, I've been on this cannibalism diet for a while, but now I'm going to get off this for a while.
Wow. And this in the emails?
In the emails.
Ouija board, and we wrote a song about pretty much everything that we did.
Right.
And we stopped playing the Ouija board because we was sitting on a bunk bed and Lazy was asking who was going to die first in his family. And he was like, when he found out it was somebody that he didn't want, so he threw the Ouija board, and then they picked it back up, and then beds started falling down. So a whole bunch of stuff started happening.
Some real shit.
Right, and I ain't fucking with that shit no more. So,
right.
We learned our lesson hands-on. And then when Eazy-E, he was like, y'all got to do that song, man. I like that Ouija song y'all did, man. And then he started talking backwards. And then after he passed, here comes the marketing and the promotional train, and here comes the company.
Right.
You know what we need to do? Let's make some money off of it. So they put that mysterious back in the days when, CD covers and reading CD covers was the thing to do. That it manifested from there, and I think it was a whole lot of.
Did you feel like
as the shooting is sort of finishing, right around 10:14, 10:15, 10:16, air traffic control starts asking the helicopter operators, because there's these tour operators that are apparently launching tour helicopters at the time. It's like, hey, Sundance or Maverick, can you see what's happening over at that concert over there? What's going on? I see a lot of, it's like police lights and stuff. And they're like kind of chattering back and forth of like, I think the concert just got out. But unbeknownst to them, 60 people are dead on the ground and the shooting has already fully happened and everything is, at least that part of everything is done. And then they start to get in the next 8 minutes, they start to realize what the hell's going on. And then air traffic control starts rerouting everybody and starts trying to deal with it, keeping the runways clear. And then it's the 30 minutes later where air traffic control comes through and says, we have an active shooter on the runway. And then they ask to turn the lights off. So that's where it became if helicopters are shooting people, you need to figure out where those helicopters came from, because they almost certainly didn't come from these tour helicopter operators.
right?
Where we haven't even talked about the shooting that happened in those hangars, by the way, that was
There was a
reported.
shooting in the hangar.
Multiple people reported shootings in those hangars and in other hangars in the airport as well. But we can come back to that.
Wait, were those?
I'm like Tucker Carlson is over here. We only have access to a limited amount of information. What they don't want us to know, we won't know. So we only get limited accounts of what took place. So that's why investigative journalism by independent individuals like anybody else is so important, because we get the real story with no mainstream narrative attached. The Vegas shooting is still extremely mysterious. I know about the shooting on the runway, the active shooter. Never heard about it on the news. Shooting from helicopters. Never heard about it on the news. Only heard about dude from the window. What was going on?
Do we know anything about those shootings?
All we know is that there were 3 different 911 calls that came in sequentially that were from relatives and friends of people that were in the hangars, because apparently the people in the hangars were trying to call 911 and couldn't get through, almost as though they were being jammed or something like that. Somehow got comms out or something, and so it was like a boyfriend of a girl that was in there, and it was reported that there was a woman down who had been shot. We don't know if she died or not. We don't have an autopsy from any woman that died in those hangars, but it was that a woman had been shot, and that there were gunmen in the hangars somewhere, and there was a bunch of civilians trying to hide from them, trying to sort of like run and hide from.
Okay, it's JoJo, right?
Watch her eyes.
And,
I slowed it down so you can see. Watch. You see that? She wasn't squinting. And then afterwards, she looks a little confused, like, oh, it took control again.
If Jeffrey Epstein is no longer supplying girls and boys to the elites in their sadistic playgrounds, who is? Because there's no way their appetites just all of a sudden dried up. Somebody's doing the job. Why is nobody asking this question?
So about 5 hours ago, Elon posted you can take a picture of your medical data or upload the file and get a fucking second opinion from his AI. And I'm not going to sit here and say that AI probably doesn't have all your medical data anyways, but don't upload your fucking medical data.
There have been even more disturbing facts coming out against Mark Laita, the owner of Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah, the place you wanted to send me was back on Skid Row. Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
There's also this clip.
So this means I'll never get that lap dance we talked about?
No, I have devoted my life to God, honestly.
You were such a fun girl.
I know.
What's also alarming to me is that in my last video, I talked about how Mark interviewed a 13-year-old child who was being trafficked by her mom and her mom's boyfriend. Mind you, he's 65. She was in a see-through top. He censored it on YouTube and then put the uncensored version behind a paywall. This child's story is horrendous. He did not once call the police. He did not once call CPS. He has done nothing to help this child, right? So there's a fine line. At what point is it exploitation instead of trying to help people?
Allegedly, they say Mark and his extremely rich buddies do that podcast only, interviews only, to get entertainment and jokes up out of it.
At one point, he even made a comment that her story was pretty neat. It also brings into question, can people even consent to these interviews when they're under the influence of drugs, alcohol, mental health crisis? I know a lot of people get defensive and think that Mark is truly trying to help these people, but at some point, I don't know, I feel like there's a very thin line between trying to help people and share people's stories and then also exploiting people, especially 13-year-old children.
I know why they had all those insane asylums back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. Because of motherfuckers like me, trying to tell people the fucking truth of our world and what is going on. I'm gonna end up in an insane asylum because we are in the Great Awakening. And if more motherfuckers like you guys don't wake the fuck up, I'm gonna end up in an insane asylum. Fuck.
Speaking of simulation, I saw this dude give a story on TikTok to where he went to Bluff City, Utah. He said, but what I experienced there had me question if we're in a simulation.
Uh-oh.
He said we were at this hotel and then we went to a grocery store and then a restaurant. And he said it just, people were weird acting. Like they're just like not expecting someone to come in. For instance, he went to the hotel clerk and he said, hey, can we get some towels for our room? She's like, oh, actually, I don't know where they're at. This is my first day on the job. And then he went to the store and something wasn't working.
Weird.
And she's like, I'm so sorry. This is my first day on the job.
Weird.
And then he went to a restaurant and the card wasn't working. And she's like, I don't actually know how to work this machine. This is my first day on the job. And he's like, what is happening?
Yeah. Jim Carrey on the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then another guy who duetted it, he didn't have a story like that, but he said he stopped in Bluff City and he saw this hitchhiker girl walking on the side of the road, but his car was packed. He's like, I can't pick her up or whatever. Yeah. He said 30 miles down, the same girl.
Stop it.
If we learn nothing else from the Epstein files, we learn that.
It's your boy, Wes the Wave. Back another video. Say we got a legend. Cat, how you doing, man?
Doing good, thank you.
Yes, sir. Starting out with the first question. You talked about ownership being the real freedom. What's one contract mistake you see young entertainers still making today?
A lot of times it's just getting in the contract itself. Like a lot of times what it is you're asking somebody else to do, you could be doing that and you would reap a far more benefit than what you're giving away in equity.
You've proven telling the truth can cost opportunities.
Yeah.
How do you decide when speaking up is worth the risk?
Always worth the risk. Always worth the risk. If we learn nothing else from the Epstein files, we learn that.
That's
I appreciate you.
And one more question.
Oh, yeah.
No.
She said two.
He said two.
Yeah.
That's two.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
In your documentary, you mentioned like sneaking in the Illuminati.
Crazy,
party.
huh?
How was that like being like? Would you be able to talk about that?
No, it's on the Netflix special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never went to a Illuminati party.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Atlanta has shaped hip hop culture.
I'm sorry, that was three.
Okay.
Was extremely likable at one point. You thought he was a cool guy. I saw a clip with him, the way he talked to a kid, and it was so rude. And I'm like, wow, look how bad his Q score is today with his wife. What's his wife's name?
Blake Lively.
From
Blake Lively. Gossip Girl.
Age of Adeline or whatever it is, whom I loved in that movie. I saw Ryan Reynolds talk to a kid on the red carpet. The way he spoke. Rob, you have to play this clip.
He changed when he had some entrepreneurial success, Pat. And I read an article that he just has this huge ego, like unbelievable because of an entrepreneurial success he had. But up in the venture capital community, it's like, dude, you were born into this investment world on third base and you think you hit the triple.
Go ahead, watch this.
Hi, little guy. What's up? What's going on? I know. It's like I'd get halfway down there and be like, I'm a monster. I know. I'm so sorry. What's your question for me, buddy?
Hi, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Let's skip to the question.
Why is there so much Chipotle mayo on your Tim Hortons breakfast?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I wish I had some control over that. But you know what I can do? I can send a strongly worded letter to the chef over at Tim Hortons. Consider it done, young man. What's your name? Liam? Okay, Liam. I'll make it downright vicious. But I'm gonna just say it's from you though.
One last thing, I don't feel like the true awakening will happen until y'all start to look at Michelle and Barack differently. They're still being praised everywhere. I just seen on Twitter that they showed up at one of the NBA games and they got on the big screen, and that video on Twitter has 22 million views and like hundreds of thousands of likes.
But is it
and
authentic?
Retweets. And I'm like, oh yeah, just when I thought that y'all finally got it, y'all don't get it. Y'all still don't get it. And it's
Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to say I agree with her. The overall perception of Obama, even though he's the first one to have ICE pop out, he then sent over numerous unlimited bombs in other places, and he still gets and he's still regarded like he's not a part of the system. I don't care about none of it, but he's definitely a part of the system, just like everybody else. His skin color just got a little more melanin.
unfortunate because, like, what the hell? I think that humanity will survive if you start working together and stop putting people in categories and in boxes because they don't agree with you. Just listen. Be willing to open your freaking ears. But yeah, I've been looking into web. Shout out to Ian Carroll. Dope app. I'll come back here with all the information followed by the page.
A lot of people on your platform have died. A lot of people on your platform is no longer with us. You took a lot of losses when it comes to your platform I'm talking about, right? It's like everybody that interview with you, come on your platform, they're dead directly after the interview. Why?
I'm talking about why.
I just want to know.
I don't know why. Then why? It's a dumb question.
No, it ain't dumb question. Like, people come on my platform all the time, they don't die after. They go on jump and talk about jump, they don't die after.
You asking me why?
Yeah, why? Is it something, are you keeping up enough commotion?
What a good question,
enough
right?
friction to where
What a
people
good
die
question.
once they hear them on your platform because you're so big and you know what you're doing, to where people come speak. Now they gotta die because your platform's so big. Is DJU platform killing all the artists in Chicago? Right.
That's up, man.
Right. I mean, you know,
What's the real?
you know for single-handedly getting the whole world snort Percocets.
No, I'm not known for that.
See, no one was doing that before they saw it on DJU. No one ever saw that. I never saw it before. You are responsible for that. You are the main reason why a lot of people are doing it now.
And I was like, oh, we just protected drug dealers. And people would be like, nah, you're a conspiracy theorist, bro.
No, here's me doing it.
Yeah, here's it's my favorite picture ever.
Here's me dropping $11 million off to a drug
here's
dealer.
me at a opium farm.
Yeah.
Like, here's me doing it. Like, we're defending this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting in
He's one
gunfights
of the
here.
good guys.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys.
Yeah.
He just happened to grow opium.
One of my favorite pictures.
There's no correlation there. There's no correlation to that. The #1 provider of opium for the world was Afghanistan, while the world's strongest, mightiest military controlled all of the airspace over that country for 20 fucking years. Yeah. We certainly had nothing. They just shoved that shit in their assholes and smuggled it out to Europe. For sure. Yeah, it's fucking Looney Tunes. We're a drug dealer. That's what we are. The United States government is a drug dealer. Yeah, I know I'm on like a whole thing right now, but it's crazy. The 2 times he had heroin or opioid-based epidemics that just rip through the countries when we're in Vietnam,
Crack
which is
too.
the Golden Triangle or the whatever triangle is the Golden Triangle.
Yep, I think so. The green triangle is California.
Yeah,
And,
but like
Bermuda
Vietnam's the
Triangle is where you
#1
lose
producer
airplanes,
of
right.
heroin and opium for the world, and we invade Vietnam, and all of a sudden the world gets dumped with heroin, and then
Weird.
we do the exact same thing in Afghanistan. But if
you say.
So when you search
Cocaine,
Palestine,
all that,
TikTok
y'all.
immediately gives you suggestions. When you search Congo, the same thing happens. Trending terms, related topics, and so on. When you search Iran, the search bar goes completely blank. No suggestions, no adjacent terms, nothing. So it's interesting to see which causes TikTok chooses to amplify, which ones quietly disappear. Make of that hierarchy what you will. Although TikTok is eager to suggest what really matters to its users. Spiritual psychosis. For example, how to know if there is a demon attached. Leave America now.
still
Interdimensional
there.
beings sightings today. Beware of the man who speaks in hands. And what TikTok does get right in the suggestions category, why is TikTok giving weird suggestions? So that's interesting, but ongoing civilian suffering, documented human rights violations in Iran receive practically nothing. No visibility, no information trail that's afforded to other countries in crisis. Now we all know TikTok clearly amplifies certain causes through its algorithmic choices, that's clear, but what remains unclear is why certain real-world crises are being silenced this way.
Panda bear. Well, I'm as a content creator, I'm gonna speak on that. One, it's a mix of it still being a business, and you need to get clicks and views to obtain currency. Beyond that, if things are amplified because the individual doesn't know about it, it doesn't go down the telephone game cycle.
Clearly they're fake.
Literally.
No.
Do you want to hear my? Hold it. When I say this, people think I'm crazy, and most of the time, 9.8 times out of 10, they've never heard this before. I'm under the narrative and opinion that these white and black little beautiful panda bears are not natural.
My argument?
Yeah.
All right, I'm not saying they're like fake. Like, I think that animals exist that are, I just think they're like Shih Tzus. They're like completely lab, like bred to be that, because they only ovulate like 3 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
They sleep or eat 23 hours a day. They can't defend themselves. They only eat bamboo. And a group of them is called an embarrassment of pandas. And they don't exist in Chinese history before like 1870.
Interesting. And how do they survive?
You've never heard an ancient story or seen an ancient drawing of a panda. It only lives on 99% bamboo. Somebody tried to argue me down and said, Google it. And Google said exactly what I said. On top of that, they can't defend themselves. What creature on earth does not have a predatory defense system?
They seem like such an incompetent animal that no way they could survive.
They're upset. And this is one of those things where if I say it, people are like, oh, you're an idiot. And like every couple of weeks, someone will text me like, dude, look at this video. They literally are like retarded.
I'm gonna go find some panda videos and send them to you now.
Yeah, they just like roll down hills.
Did you see the video? I think it was China. They put dogs and painted them like pandas, and they were taking them into the zoo, and they got in trouble. It was amazing.
Dude, everyone writes it to me. I'm like, okay, every panda in the world's owned by China.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so like they own the genetics of it.
And they also used to give, they still do, they give nations how good the base they were on the prior year, they give them a panda.
They started rolling it out in like 47. They sent everyone a panda. It was called panda diplomacy. Pan is like the demon, like Pan, like pandemic, pandemonium. I think they might have been bred to eat bamboo because bamboo is hard to clear.
So maybe they wanted to clear the bamboo.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, well, they're black, white, Asian, and docile. Let's roll this out as like the model citizen, you know?
Perfect for Asia, yeah. Seems a little crazy, but it's possible.
Dude,
the fact of
totally.
them surviving makes no sense. Like, how the fuck's a
Dude,
panda
they don't
gonna survive?
ovulate. They don't F.
Yeah, they won't breed in
They
captivity,
won't
right?
breed. They
won't
can't
fuck,
get
they
them
won't-
to F. They're like, they're lazy. I've always despised them. And so I'm
Everyone-
like, dude.
everyone else thinks they're cute, and you're like, fuck these pandas.
Oh, dude, people are like, oh, save the panda. I'm like, dude, they're useless. I despise them.
Yeah, they are pretty useless. They're just cute, but
Allegedly.
the dog ones were cuter. The
Dog pandas. I think red pandas were a valid species, but I think they've been bred into an abomination.
That is a big fat lie. Pandas do not exist. They don't exist in people's homes. They don't exist in the wild, but they do exist in the zoo. The first panda to be discovered was in the 1920s, and the first panda to be brought over to the US was in the 1930s by this woman. And you know how I feel about women. So you're telling me in over 4,000 years of Chinese history, they've never seen pandas until the 1920s? Bro, even in the Chinese zodiac, they have a dragon. Dragons are real, but pandas aren't. They've been lying to you about animals. This is called a fake animal. They have fake animals in zoos just to gain popularity, gain money, gain traction. But look at this picture. That's a stuffed animal. But they make you think it's real. The majority of pandas you see in zoos are just fake. They're animatronics, they're puppets, they're people in fursuits. They use everything they can to make you believe pandas are real, and they get so much funding for it. But you will never find amateur footage of them in the wild. You'll get Animal Planet, you'll get nature photos, videos of people who run the show or whatever, and they'll make fake videos of it, but you'll never see amateur videos of it. You will never discover a panda.
I don't think I ever have.
You're telling me this animal only eats one thing. It can only eat, and it only mates one time a year. Bro, this is the fakest animal you'll ever discover. Even faker than dinosaurs. Like, they will use people in fursuits, monkeys in fursuits. They just paint dogs. It's not real. If you know anything about the Shilluminati or their symbolism, what panda eyes mean, like, you start to understand everything they do is fake, and just to make money, and just to make you believe in their lies. They love it when you believe in their lies.
I don't think pandas are real.
Like the actual, like, black and white pandas?
Yes. So pandas, they were officially on the brink of extinction during like 1980. It was about like probably 1,100 pandas even left on the planet
On
Earth.
the Earth?
Yes. They're indigenous to China. And then the numbers finally spiked up during 2014. They ended up getting to like 1,800. During that time where pandas started to decrease in population, the number of abductions in the Chinese culture rose. A lot of kids were getting abducted. When you pay attention to 2014, during China, they started this new venture capital initiative where they started funding a lot of technological like advances. Uber's app was developed, fucking TikTok was developed, and ended up springing up through 2014.
That's crazy.
And then that's when pandas started increasing in population. So I think personally, couple of them are abducted Chinese babies. Couple of them are robots. That's just what I personally
Man, what's
think
in
from my
what's
research.
in your fucking vape pen, man? I need to smoke when he's smoking, because this nigga is making no sense to me. I want to follow this man with my spirit, but I was like, no, you lost me there.
In this compilation, which was pretty fire, in my opinion. Let me know how y'all feel about it. What's y'all favorite narrative? Anything new y'all learned, or anything y'all disagree with extremely? We're gonna end it with the panda. I've been saying this for a minute, but people think I make sense when I say it, but it's just so left field, like incomprehensible. But with that being said, make sure you pop out the Intellectual Street Thoughts tonight, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am your humble host, Cash, capital K, $ for that. Shout out to the OG Global Gang members. Y'all keep this channel alive.